good, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz City Podcast. I am your host, Cody Orr, and I'm here today with the panel, my co-host, Clay McCarter, our guy, Blue Bloods, and, of course, Kelly Flicks from the Lace Up Podcast. Fellas, we skipped last week for a reason.
Yeah.
All right? We got a whole lot to talk about because we know Twitter was going off. So I figured we come out the gate and just talk about it, right? Because I mean, it was the biggest thing in sports media. Florida State being left off of the out of the playoffs. Now, I've heard comments from Booger McFarland saying that it's an atrocity to the sport, and so many players or former players and analysts are just going in and agreeing with him on that, and it's a travesty to college football. In my opinion, cry all you want, bro. Cry all you want. You're doing too much. All right, that's extra. Let's be honest. Is this not about the four best teams? Is that not what this playoff system is about? No, the committee after last year, I really do feel like the committee does not want another game like that, like the championship. They don't want another blowout. I hate to say it, yes. That undefeated season is all for nothing after Jordan Travis got injured. I'm sorry. It's not a punishment to you, and I feel like that's how people are looking at it. It's not the committee didn't sit down and say, we're going to have to punish them because Jordan Travis is hurt. No, it's unfortunate that he got hurt, but now that he is and he's out for the season, you are no longer a top four team. I do not think you're going to go out there and give us a good show versus Michigan. I just don't. I really don't. And it's unfortunate, but even still, right? Even still with Jordan Travis being injured, I feel like that conference championship was the perfect opportunity for them to prove the committee wrong. Like any doubts that they had about Jordan Travis, that kid, that freshman quarterback, bless him, because I mean, I'm not putting this on him. That was his first career start, I believe. Had he played good, I believe they would have been like, okay, Florida State still looks pretty good under this freshman quarterback. Maybe we could put them in the playoffs. Maybe they will give us a show. Maybe they won't get blown out. But the kid was 8 for 21 with 55 yards versus Louisville. I'm not putting you in. I'm not putting you in the top four. I don't care that you escaped because you barely escaped. I don't care that you won. I don't want that performance in the playoffs. So it's unfortunate, and I do feel for Florida State. But nah, you're no longer a top four team. I'm sorry. That's just me though. But like, I don't know. Like, whose side are y'all on in this Florida State thing?
I think when you break it down of what we saw last year with what happened with a TCU team that they won their playoff game, they go to the national championship, and then they end up getting arguably the worst loss in the history of a national championship game in college football. I mean, that is just absolutely atrocious. They were dominated for 4 straight quarters, 63-7. I mean, it was an atrocity. When you look at it from a broader aspect, and with the expansion, this helps. The whole people joking about the whole we need to look at the emergency playoff 6 team with a bye week stuff. That was never going to happen. No. There's no way that you can coordinate it that quickly. It's not happening. There's no way. And what other bowl games you're going to be able to do if you're going to have people doing bye weeks? It's not a thing. It's not going to happen. It's comical to see that they're trying to allocate $1 million of tax-paying money to sue the CFB committee who made the right decision. And that's my stance on the subject. They made the right decision. I will say, if Jordan Travis is healthy and an undefeated record, they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Right.
They won every game on their schedule. They won their conference championship game. Yes. When you look at post-Jordan Travis injury, they're scoring less points per game, less offensive yards per game. Their defense is obviously on the field much more, and their defense is now statistically going down less. They beat Louisville in their championship game. I get that. Yes, by a very small margin in the grand scheme when you look at what they've done through the year. The ACC is the weakest conference in college football, and it's not my bias for the SEC. It genuinely is. If you look at it, and I might not be down to the exact number, FSU's opponents this year combined record was 67-78. Of the total wins and losses from everybody they played for the season. Jordan Travis is that impactful to that program this season that you put them in there right now. Listen, I won't even talk about what happens if they play in the playoffs right now against the other three teams. What's going to happen to them against Georgia, and you can book this, they're going to get beat by Georgia by more than 30. 30 points. And I will take that right now. Anybody wants to come in the comments, I'm willing to say right now, I'll die on this hill. They're going to lose to Georgia by more than 30.
See, that's the thing, David. It's not Florida
points.
State's fault. We're not saying
it's not their fault. It's
not
their fault at all.
But the reality of it is, you're not a top 4 team anymore.
The CFB committee came out and said, and I'm sure all three of you guys will be able to see this. They say when we look at how we're grading things, we have to take into consideration the status and available. I'm not going to say availableness, but are they available of impact players? They are a completely different team without Jordan Travis. Completely.
That's the problem I have with the committee, though, because I think the committee is actually going into the situation. We're looking at a 13-0 Florida State team that gets straight up snubbed. If Alabama was 13-0, they wouldn't get snubbed. If Georgia was 13-0, they wouldn't get snubbed either. I think this is like directly SEC bias. We talk about playoff committee putting a certain team in there. Florida State, right. No quarterback, missing the first, second string, cool. Texas has also struggled throughout this season with their second string quarterback. They've had tons of beating Iowa State.
Yo, yeah, because I thought it was just me. Your audio is kind of.
Hold on.
I didn't know if everybody else heard it.
No, I heard it. I tried to mute my microphone so I wasn't getting any relay back from it, so it might have seemed like it was one of us. I think that it's R2D2 in a little bit.
I'll go ahead and go while he fixes that. Listen, I mean, Kobe knows this because me and him have talked about this plenty of times. Two things can be true at once. Did Florida State deserve to be in? Yes, but the College Football Playoff Committee backed themselves in a corner where they could not put them in. Because if you remember 2 weeks ago, after that North Alabama game, Reese Davis asked the committee chairman, Boo Corrigan, word for word, is Jordan Travis's injury going to affect Florida State? He said yes. It's on the website. That's one of the factors we look at. And we want the 4 best teams, not the 4 most deserving. That's where they back themselves in a corner. The problem is he was almost talking out of both sides of his mouth, because last year was TCU one of the 4 best teams in college football. And I want to remind people, TCU lost their conference championship game that year. Kansas State beat them.
Correct.
So how did the committee go from the 4 most deserving to the best in 1 year? I do think it has something to do with the result of that TCU Georgia game. Mm-hmm. But here was my main problem with the decision on Florida State. One, the quarterback that played against Louisville wasn't going to be the starter against Michigan. Their backup was hurt. He was in concussion protocol. By the time the playoff game rolled around, the main backup would have been back. So the kid you saw play against Louisville wasn't even going to play. And the other issue I have is, at the end of the day, even with Jordan Travis, the identity of Florida State was the defense. There is a real argument that they had the best defense in the country, pound for pound, talent-wise, especially at the defensive line. And I want to remind people, Louisville, before last week against Kentucky, where they slipped up, it was a rivalry game, was a top 10 team in the country, 1 loss, and they held a top 20 offense in the country to 6 points in the ACC championship game. Then they went on the road and they quote unquote struggled against Florida. They ended up beating them by almost double digits. But are we going to forget the team that they just put in Alabama? damn near lost to Auburn, who freaking got their heads beat in by New Mexico State a week before and needed an absolute miracle to beat a terrible Auburn team. And let's not forget, it's not like Bama's been dominant this year. Do you guys remember how they almost choked against Arkansas, who damn near fired their whole staff this season at home?
Right.
They haven't. And then on top of that, too, man, the LSU one to me is a little bit jaded as well because Jaden Daniels goes down with injury in the second half. And obviously, LSU isn't winning in Death Valley without Jaden Daniels, who should win the Heisman this weekend.
He will.
So the problem for me is the committee wasn't consistent. Now, I understand you say the 4 best teams. That's cool. But I think the main problem people have is it always seems like it's Bama getting the benefit of the doubt. Like if Ohio State or Oregon or like another team would have been the 4th team in, I don't think this would have been as big of an issue. But you have an Alabama team that consistently finds a way to get lucky, find a way to backdoor in. I think that's the problem that everyone really has. But at the end of the day, 2 things could be true. Was Florida State without Jordan Travis one of the 4 best teams? Probably not. But it set a very, very dangerous precedent moving forward with the way they handled the situation.
They scapegoated off of knowing that the expansion's happening next year. But there's 2 ways to skin a cat. You look at it and you say, all right, hold on. Alabama wins the SEC championship game. They beat a team that hadn't lost in almost 3 full seasons. Back-to-back national champions. They beat them. All right, hold on. We got to put them in now. Plus, it's the Alabama bias, which we are aware of. Everybody, regardless of your favorite team, knows that there's Alabama bias. It's a Nick Saban.
Right.
But you look at it and say, okay, the beginning of the season, that Texas loss doesn't look as bad when you see that they're only now rated 1 or 2 spots ahead of them. Texas, since probably, I don't know, last 5 to 7 weeks, probably one of the hottest teams in college football. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. They're averaging 40-something points a game. Almost 50. You look at it, you see that, yeah, like you were saying, Blue, 2 things can be true. Jordan Travis healthy, they're in there. Jordan Travis unhealthy, look at statistically what's happened. They're a lesser talented football team because they're not scoring as many points. They're scoring like 14 points per game less than what they were doing with Jordan Travis. Let's not also forget, before Jordan Travis got hurt, he was top 3 in the Heisman odds.
I'm just saying, I don't think he's going to be the SEC champion out of the playoffs. I just didn't see that happen.
Well, I kind of thought differently. So hang on, I'm going to run something by maybe it was just me kind of overthinking it, but going in, I was talking to someone.
Yo. Not bad.
No, go ahead, Kelly. My bad.
Oh no, am I still static?
No, you're good now.
All right, cool. I'm back in business. Finish your point, Blue. I was testing. My bad.
No, you're good. I was talking to someone because if you think about it, so college football playoff came in 2014. Every single Power 5 conference has been left out of the playoffs except the SEC. If there was a year to do it and make it even, they should have pulled the trigger this year because they had a good excuse to leave an SEC team out. And you look across. It's really this year was a culmination of bad mistakes by the college football playoff committee and the NCAA because we've talked. Kobe, Clay, Kelly, how long have we talked about? Why is the playoff 4 teams with 5 Power 5 conferences?
Right.
Why, how do we have a committee full of non-football people picking who's going to compete for that? Like the culmination of all this, I don't feel bad for the committee. I've heard people say, I feel bad for the committee. It's an impossible decision. I don't feel bad. This is your fault. You set yourself up for this because it was bound to happen eventually. They've just gotten lucky that this has never happened. And the one thing that my last point I talked to Kelly, the first year of the college football playoff, they made the call to allow Ohio State, who had 1 loss that year, to get into the playoffs with the 3rd string quarterback. And that team won and I'm not saying Florida State's more talented than them, but that set the precedent that keep winning and we're going to let you in and going to give you a shot. Because Clay just said that Georgia's going to beat them by 30. I don't think that's a guarantee because you want to know why? half a Georgia team is about to hit the portal and declare for the draft and not play. Florida State's pissed off. If they go and beat Georgia, man, it is going to be pure chaos.
I think we all know that they're not beating Georgia.
And
I don't think that's a guarantee.
it would be poetry to me if they beat Georgia. I think that's a big reason why we're here right now. The committee decided to toss this consolation prize over to Florida State. Like, here, you guys can still play Georgia. Well, you're still outside of the club. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
To me, the committee is just absolutely gutless. You know, to come into this and say, okay, we have all of these great FBS teams, great Power 5 programs that we can choose from to make into this playoff. How do we do it? And just to sit in this meeting and be completely gutless and go, we're going to just fold and succumb to whatever SEC team we think should make it. And it doesn't matter what we really think. It's about how the SEC will react to us. That's gutless to me. Seeing this Alabama team make it into here, I mean, over Florida State, an undefeated Florida State team was the most surprising. I don't really care as much about the backup or the second guy. I'm more of a football purist, right? If you win, you're in my opinion. To me, the record, Florida State is 13-0. You're undefeated. Alabama has lost a game. Florida State hasn't looked good, but they've still won games. It was a time, like Blue was saying, where Alabama was really struggling during this season. There was a time when Texas was really struggling with their backup quarterback this season. So we can't exactly judge these teams off their lowest point when it comes to a bunch of 5 or 6 very good Power 5 programs. We saw Cincinnati make it in here on an undefeated season. They shouldn't have made it. We saw TCU made it last year. They shouldn't have made it. This college football committee has been incredibly inconsistent throughout, I would say, the last 5 or 6 years, to the point where now there's going to add up to 12 teams and try to make up for their shortcomings as a choosing committee. I think this committee has a very hard time getting things right. This is another example of it. And I think it's really going to piss a lot of people off, because this time you pissed off a blue blood, right? We're talking about Florida State, very powerful Florida State team. That's the governor even wants to get involved in this, right? I think the college football committee made this a much bigger thing than it had to be. I think if you keep it simple, I'll probably snub Texas or snub Alabama and make sure Florida State gets in there.
Okay, you go snub Alabama and Texas. Which one?
I would snub Bama.
Bama. Texas beat Bama.
Okay.
But at the same time, you look at it, is they were never going to leave an SEC team out. And it's not just the bias. Is you have the 2-time defending national champion that hasn't lost in 3 seasons. They lose 1 game. You're either going to keep them in, or you're going to put Bama in. It's one or the other.
So let me ask you this, right? With the 12-team playoff coming next year, aren't we still? I feel like we're still going to have this problem at some point, even going to 12 teams.
No, but all
Somebody
it's going to
not
do is
get 12 spot, right? Like that. Now we upset again.
think about this, though. When it gets to
ahead.
the point where it's 12 teams, depending on how they do rankings, like if it's going to be seedings, based off of if it's going to be similar to how they do the majority of other things, where you have a really, really higher seed playing a lesser seed until you start getting into the meat of it. What happens when you have – I'll use these as an example. What happens when you have a undefeated Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, whatever powerhouse team that's statistically always pretty good, playing a team that is on their Cinderella season that just managed to crack the top 12 and is undefeated, like a Tulane or a James Madison, if they were to make it that high? What happens? So are people going to complain then? Well, we got to play the way that it was broken down. You're not going to put the number 1 seed against the other number 2 seed the first round of the playoffs. No, because you don't deserve to play. You don't deserve to be that game immediately as a lesser seed. You got to go in and you got to play somebody that's better than you immediately off of being a lower ranked seeding in a tournament bracket style that's going to be. There's going to be more complaining. There's going to be more, we got snubbed as a top 12 team, because there's going to be so many different moving factors. It's still going to be an ongoing thing. But regardless of the fact of, at least with 12 teams, like we've all probably been saying all season, all 5 conferences have a chance to be represented.
I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I'll be honest. I know people say that, but there's a big difference between arguing between like the difference between number 4 through number 7
It's huge.
is so different than, oh, we went 8-4, we deserve a shot at that. Dude, shut up and go sit down somewhere. Nobody wants to hear from you. Like, because
Do we
you
think
can even
8-4 teams will make it?
dude, like I mean, not 8-4, but like probably like what 9-3, 10-2. I mean, there's some
Dude,
there's some
there's
3-4
going to be
loss
people in the
teams.
playoffs with 3 losses.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, because you got to think too, there's only going to be one group of 5 spots. So that's really not going to matter. And the top group of 5 team is usually undefeated, 1 loss. So that's fine. And we've seen repeatedly throughout history, regardless of how many people want to bitch and moan about it, those group of 5 teams can beat some of the top teams in the country on any given Saturday. We've seen it too many times where people have a problem with that.
App State, baby.
Yeah, shout out to App State, but
Shout out App State, baby.
it Tulane last year too. But I will say this though, the difference is going to be way different because I have a harder time rationalizing why a 3-loss LSU team should be in over a 2-loss Oklahoma than I do an undefeated team sitting on the couch right now.
Yeah, now my whole issue with the 12-team playoff, I think we're actually getting too big. I think 6 teams would be around the right mark for me. We're talking about 5.
A little bit of static coming in.
Hold on.
It ain't bad. It's like a little bit.
Make that's clear. Let me know.
Test it.
Yeah, same.
Little bit of static.
Oh,
See if it's your headphone resting on your shirt.
Mm.
I mean, even if that's the case, we can deal with it. Other than like the first.
No, we gotta get it right, man. If it's static, I'm gonna stay up.
He said he's not from Cali. If it's static, we're staying in all business.
Hey, so when it comes to the governor, DeSantis, right, wanting to put $1 million aside to sue the college football playoff committee, how y'all feel about that?
This is going out sad. If you really genuinely think about it in a bigger universe, you're going to spend tax-paying money, taxpayers' dollars that could go towards so many other problems in the world, and you're going to go fight a lawsuit that at the end of the day, you know what it's going to do? Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
You're not playing in the game. You're not playing in the playoff games that are going to happen. They're scheduled. Teams have plane rides, bus rides, hotels booked. You're not going to have a championship. You're not going to have a ring. You're not going to have a nothing. You're spending money or trying to attempt to spend money for no reason at all. This is another case of UCF. And I hate to say that it's another Florida team, but it seems like for some reason that Florida man energy is flowing strong down there. Mm-hmm. I'm originally from Florida. I'm obviously a Gator fan, but everybody knows by now that if you tune in and listen to us. But this whole the Florida team complex of we went undefeated, we're national champions. Did you play in a game? Do you have a banner? Do you have a ring? Were you on television? No. You're not in the record books. It never happened. This is another case of that by showing that you want to spend $1 million to go to court. When in reality, in 3 weeks, it's done and over with. There's nothing that you can do. No court case is going to be done in 3 weeks where they're going to be like, oh, the committee got sued. They lost the case. FSU's in the playoffs. No, the game's still getting played, bro. It's over with. Take it to bed. Focus on Georgia. Recoup next season. Done.
Yeah. This is ridiculous, man. Especially, I mean, it's like the words don't even describe it. The fact that they move so quickly for this, but with all the political unrest and racial just problems in that state, the fact that they're wasting time on a college football playoff snub is ridiculous, man. And it just shows why I'm not a political dude, and this is why, dude. It just aggravates the hell out of me. So I mean, am I surprised? No, the Santos dude is just ridiculous. But I mean, it just shows how corrupt everything. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that.
Shout out my guy Levi in the comments.
But sounds familiar too. I'm not even gonna lie.
You know Levi.
That name sounds familiar. That's all.
Levi's arguably the greatest wrestler to ever go through Belton High.
Okay, all right, yeah. I knew that name. I remember that name. Levi was
that's my guy for sure.
All right, Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's talk about him. I couldn't believe this. I cannot believe this.
When you sent me that, I'm not kidding. I was taking a drink. I was taking a sip of something, and I almost spit it out because I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Apparently, Marvin Harrison Jr. got offered millions of dollars in NIL deals that would compete with the money that he would make as a rookie, going where we know he's going in the draft, to stay at Ohio State for another year. When I heard that, I didn't know what to think, bro. I'm not doing it, but I didn't know what to think. How do you even let it go? Let it go, bro. You had 3 good years with that man. Let it go, man. You have a great wide receiver room.
This is the thing. This NIL thing is going to get so big to where if this is rumored true to where he's getting offered the amount of money that has been mentioned over playing in the NFL, what is known as the all-star game of collegiate athletes. These are the best college athletes and other guys that, go undrafted or whatever. This is the greatest talent for football as a league in the entire world. And you're talking about professionals against people who have to go to 8 a.m. classes. If it gets to that point where these boys start making that much money over a 4-year span or whatever it is, the NFL is going to be so soft. Soft.
I'm not only worried about that. I'm worried about how this makes you look if you do decide. Like let's just say he does decide to take that NIL money. You're considered one of the best wide receiver prospects since who they say Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson, something crazy like that. Like you're considered to be that guy, and you choose to pass up on the NFL where the best talent resides. Well, all you have to do is worry about your craft, running routes, catching footballs 24/7 to go back to college.
But hold on, this is the thing though. Let's clarify this for the viewers. The amount of money that's rumored, and Kobe, correct me if I'm wrong, is $25 to $30 million, correct?
Blue, I didn't know. I didn't know the number.
I thought the thing that you sent us the other day in the chat was.
I don't remember it, or at least.
What was it?
If you're telling me in 1 year, a college athlete is going to be making 1 year, 1 season, so next season he's getting paid X amount of money through NIL, is even more than $3 or $4 million. Bro, you're making more money than probably 30% of the NFL players. When you take it into a total roster aspect, when the league minimum is $1 million, practice squad players are getting paid a couple $100,000. You're making more money than I would say a decent percentage of the NBA. Like, if you want to stay in college and do the school thing and make that money, cool. Or you want to not do any of that and worry about being better as a football player and just worry about that. But that's just crazy to me.
I'm just saying, I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. during winter in Columbus, Ohio to walk to class to keep my GPA up so I can stay eligible to play football and continue to make this money. Let's say he's taking online classes. I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. in my dorm when my bed is comfortable. Just to induce to do homework. Like, no, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
I'm still sounding like the Terminator or what?
Nah, you good, bro.
Nah, you sound good.
Let's get into it though. So the Marvin Harrison it's a tough reality to deal with, I'll say, for college football athletes, because you have this option, right, whether to move or not move, and they're even having this conversation with Caleb because he opted out of the bowl game, and they're going, okay, well, if you stay at USC but you opt out the bowl game, like there's a very fine line between being a team player and not being a team player. But in any rate, Marvin Harrison and making this decision, to me, when it comes to the NFL, you take your chances and you go, right? When your stock is up, you go. The longer you wait, the lower your stock gets, regardless of who you are, regardless of how good you play, just because of the simple fact that you may regress. Stats may go down. Another guy may come up. You might end up in a situation where you're old news, right? You don't want to be in that spot. So to me, Marvin Harrison taking that money would be cool, but for people to be speaking about you as a top 3 prospect in the NFL, you got to go ahead, take your chances, and go try it off NFL, see what you can get. Because that signing bonus is going to be way more than this NIL money, I guarantee, if you're a top 5 guy. We saw Kyler Murray go top 5, get $20 million signing bonus, right? From number 1 to pick 13, that signing bonus is going to go from around $30 million to $12 million, right? That's more than any of the NIL money you can make this year at Ohio State, I guarantee it.
And plus, my bad.
Anthony Richardson's contract. It's one of the biggest rookie contracts in the history of the NFL. This man got paid bread. And you're making it to the league. Think about your family legacy. What happens if this man goes out there and has a catastrophic leg injury like Marcus Lattimore or something like along those lines? He never makes it to the NFL because he wanted to stay there and be the man on campus and take the college money. If he's going to make $25 million, say in theory, if the number is, that they're saying that the amount of money he can make in NIL is, say, $10 million, you're going to make more money in the NFL than you will in 1 year in Ohio State if you want to look at it from a better aspect of your bonus is more than that. This dude is going top 3 in the draft. Top 3 in the draft. He's going between 1, 2, or 3. He will not be the 4th pick in the draft or anything below that.
Right. Plus, let's look at Evan Stewart, right? Number one wide receiver in this class. He just said, I didn't even get my NIL money that I was promised at Texas A&M with the pockets they got. Now, I don't think they'll play that game of Marvin Harrison Jr., but at least the fact that they can even pull something like that, when I know if I go to the NFL to sign that contract, you're going to have to give me that money. Like, that's guaranteed in my account. That's why I'm leaving. That's why I'm going to the league.
That bonus is a lump sum check.
Nice. Blue, what you think, bro?
Yeah, I mean, twofold again. I do think he should go ahead and leave, but the problem is I feel like yes, we got to remember who he is and where he comes from. Like, money might not be the number one thing for him.
No.
So I understand, like, it's like when we're talking about millions of dollars, but I'm telling you, based on what I'm hearing, they're leveraging Marvin Harrison for a top quarterback in the portal. Why do you think they went ahead and let Tom McCord walk out the door? They're looking to pair Marvin Harrison with the top quarterback, and they're selling him on, listen, man, we'll give you a bunch of money, and we're going to go win the national championship next year.
Can't beat Michigan.
That's the issue. So, I mean, you've also got to think he might just feel like he hasn't done everything that he's wanted to do yet in college. So I think that's playing a role. But if I was him, man, you got to take the guaranteed money.
Go to the league, bro. It's one of the hardest.
I didn't even bring up injuries. A possible injury could plummet your draft stock. You know, you go out there, play 13, 14 games, and something happens to you, and now you're not top 5 anymore. Come on, I wouldn't even imagine that.
Dude,
you know, I couldn't imagine that for him.
Even a major hamstring injury for him drops him. Not a tear, not an ACL, MCL, anything. A hamstring injury is going to drop him. Bro, go get paid and go play against the big boys, bro. You're going to go out there. You're probably going to put up. You'll be in the running for Rookie of the Year immediately, depending on who you get drafted with. If he goes to the Bears, say he's the 2nd pick in the draft, he goes to the Bears with Caleb Williams. Ball.
Waldo say, y'all, speaking on that, y'all see Cam Ward getting that Ohio State offer immediately after hitting the portal. I saw that, but then I saw something about him withdrawing interest from school. So, like, what's the latest on that?
I mean, I think I think he has a set number in mind, and if no school offers him that, he's gone.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, I don't know who's gonna end up quarterback one for Ohio State, but like if it ain't Cam Ward, I
Blue,
feel like they play.
After seeing that comment, I was going to ask you, Blue. Go back to that recruiting classes. Who was Ohio State heavy on recruiting wise out of available transfer quarterbacks?
Oh man, I'll have to go back and look. But listen, let's be honest, guys. We're talking about Ohio State. They're going to have first pick at whoever they want. There's not many schools in the country, especially with Georgia probably not looking for a quarterback. Michigan might be looking for a quarterback depending on what McCarthy does, but I don't know if he's a guarantee to leave. They're going to be the biggest brand looking for a quarterback because I put them over USC right now in terms of where you want to play. I mean, I know Lincoln Riley's the QB whisperer, but they can't win. I mean, they're about to go to the Big Ten and get their heads beat in until they find a way to build a defense. I think they're going to be the biggest school because Milroe's going to come back for Bama. He's obviously going to be there, guys. So Bama's not looking for a quarterback. Texas damn sure ain't going to be looking for a quarterback. So they got three that everyone in the country wishes they could have. So really, outside of USC, Ohio State, who's a bigger brand in college football that's looking for a quarterback?
It would be crazy if you just saw out of the blue Arch just says.
I mean, I know we'll be in the market. I know they talked about that kid from Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma, but
yeah,
we'll be in the market for one. But
maybe Bo Nix will get a 19th year of eligibility for you, man.
Yeah, but Bo Nix is getting ready to pull a 401k check from the NCAA.
Hey, I'm sure the NCAA will clear them.
Yeah, they will.
That's a good point too, David. Florida State, I think, they'll be in the market. Let's talk Heisman. All right, we know the finalists: Marvin Harrison Jr., Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and Jaden Daniels. But if we being realistic, we know who it comes down to. All right, we know the two that it comes down to. Who do you think will win it, and who do you think should win it? Because I think they're gonna give it to Michael. All right, but I think Jaden should win it.
I think Jaden's going to get it, and he should win it. But Penix has a strong case, man. He really does.
He does.
Jaden's not playing in a New York Six Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden also had a couple games where he, didn't get to play a full game, but look at the dude's stats. The dude had the most total yards by a singular player. He broke multiple records. He low-key not really under the radar because he's obviously a household name at this point, but if you really do look at it, this man put up some numbers that are historically great in the SEC. Against teams that win or lost, he still went out there and did his thing. Michael Penix is gifted. Most passing yards per game in the country.
Right.
He's still averaging, 70 Blue. I think Blue or Kelly, all three, honestly. 72% completion percentage? 73%?
I don't know his completion percentage.
No, it was like 65%.
Oh, I thought they showed a stat the other day during one of the games. He was one of the Bo Nix got the number one.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels wasn't up there because of how many times he launches the ball during the game.
Yeah, I want to say Penix, like his completion percentage isn't that good. I'm looking right here, 65.9%.
How many attempts compared to Jaden?
Hang on.
I say Jaden's probably got to be close to that too.
Well, but Penix was at 466 this year. Jaden Daniels had a 72% completion percentage this year on almost 330 attempts, bro.
3,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, bro.
Dude, the dude's legs alone. I mean, he ran better than I would say half of the SEC's running backs.
Does he average 8.4 yards a carry when he takes off?
Yeah.
He had double-digit rushing touchdowns.
Number one in QBR.
Yes.
Bro.
I think that. Okay, I feel like this might be not 100% true or not, but don't you feel like all the other awards should come after the Heisman?
Yeah, well, the crazy part is Bo Nix won the Pac-12 Player of the Year, right? Michael Penix just won the Maxwell Award tonight.
Jaden Daniels won AP Player of the Year, though.
Yeah. So all three. So Nick was the Conference Player of the Year over Penix.
What?
Penix won the Maxwell, and Associated Press picked Jaden Daniels.
Why don't those awards come out after the Heisman?
I don't get it, man.
I don't get it.
One thing I will say though, this is like the battle of all the OG quarterbacks. All these guys are like 6-7 year guys. You're gonna be real. Penix is old, Bo Nix is old, Jaden Daniels is old. These guys are super seniors right now, dominating the college football game. But I gotta lean towards Jaden Daniels, man. Cali kid, Cali quarterbacks run the world. It really goes with what Jaden Daniels has been doing this season. I mean, just the tear he's been going on. The fact that LSU has lost these games has put a mark on his record, as a quarterback. Because part of being a good quarterback is, winning and losing games. But I will say, though, Jaden Daniels has impacted the game like no other player in college football this year. You want to look at a player that literally changes the whole dynamic of the game. We wouldn't even be talking about Alabama being in the playoff if Jaden Daniels stays in that game versus Alabama. So I think that Jaden Daniels being the most impactful player in the country would, by that definition, be the Heisman winner. I think the issue with that is the fact that Michael Penix has also had a great season, and on the different side of the spectrum, has led his team to the playoffs, which makes things different.
Yeah, it's Jaden Daniels. I think that's all we have to say. I mean, Jaden Daniels leads the country in total offense, total touchdowns, passer ratings, yards per attempt, and rushing yards for a quarterback with over 1,100. I mean, and is tied first nationally in passing touchdowns with 40. And then on top of that, too, became only the 8th player in college football history to pass for 3,500 yards and rush for 1,000 in the season. And became the first player in college football history to pass for 350 in a game and run for 200 in a game. Shout out to them Florida Gators bum defense. But it's Jaden Daniels all the way. I had to take the shot at Clay's team, but I think Jaden Daniels should run away with this one.
Blue, I will counter that and say a guy that was benched during a USF game on 4th and what was it? 4th and what? Throws a dart in the back of the end zone.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Little friendly fire action, baby. It's all good. That's what college football's about.
All right. It's time for the recap. Conference championship.
I was about to say, I thought Kobe about to come at my neck with something about the game. I was about to say, bro, I'm getting off this show, man.
Big 12 championship. I mean, the Big 10 championship. So I watched it, right? And I feel like this is a game where the score doesn't exactly it wasn't as bad as the score made it seem. Like, I feel like Iowa losing 26-0 wasn't a lot of big plays in that game defensively, man. It was kind of a nitty, hard-fought win for Michigan. There wasn't a lot of separation between their DBs and Michigan's wide receivers. The big plays had to come from special teams, some with the punt return. It wasn't that game had me looking at Michigan like I'm not as confident as I was. Like I'm not gonna lie. So good win for them, but I didn't like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. What y'all thought?
Weak. Honestly, it wasn't a very exciting game. If you were really going to go out there and kind of show that you're as dominant as everybody has been saying that Michigan is, which don't get me wrong, they're a very good football team. They deserve the playoffs. They deserve to be in the position that they're in. But if you're going to go out there and do it, the way that Vegas had it, Vegas predicted it. They said that I was not going to score a single touchdown, and they got that right. Vegas knows better than all of us do, but they should have went out there and forced their will a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, that should have been a much bigger win than 26 points. That's just my take, but
they weren't dinking and dunking, but they were moving downfield as methodical as you could.
It was a very well game planned game. It seemed like they were just running it seemed like they were running plays for the next game that they were like, all right, we want to kind of experiment a little bit this against a team that's pretty decent on the other side of the ball, but they didn't really. It wasn't like a flashy game. Like
at all.
what was the longest touchdown of that game? Over under what, 35 yards?
Like 10 yards. It looked like an inter squad scrimmage, man. I will say, like that was supposed to be our Big Ten championship. It looked like an inter squad, a couple weeks before the season in the fall sometime. I wasn't that, Michigan didn't really excite me about, heading to the playoff. I think their big game was Ohio State, to put it quite simple. Their big game was Ohio State. The next week after that, playing against this Iowa team, I mean, Iowa couldn't score if it was like 5 guys on defense. They have an offensive issue. So I think that Michigan was going to win this game no matter what. Right. I just think it was a little odd that, this type of game doesn't affect how they stand to the committee. I mean, they still came out number 1 in all of college football. So it must not have changed many minds in that committee.
Blue, before you go, I also want to say I feel really bad for that bar owner in Iowa who said that he was going to be giving out free drinks until Iowa scored. He lost a lot of money. He lost a lot of money. I feel
Don't
so
feel
sorry
bad for him. Don't feel bad for him. He should have known. What are we talking about? He should have known.
If he was responsible, he would have looked and said, "Man, they're not projecting us to score a single touchdown."
He had faith in his team, bro.
So he should have said that I'm gonna give free drinks until he scores 6 points. 6 points, so we can go get 2 field goals. They didn't even do that. That dude just lost him some money, but at the same time, they probably had a good time, and it brought a lot of notoriety to the company. So good for him.
No, the deal should have been everyone gets free drinks all night if Iowa scores. That should have been the special.
Right.
But I mean, I think are any of us surprised at how this game went?
Not really.
I mean,
Iowa not really that. Iowa does 2 things good. Throw that one random white guy on defense into the league, and their tight ends are always fire.
Exactly.
That's it. That's it. What other positions are you like? Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, like offensively, like O-line maybe.
Maybe corner. Like every once in a while, they throw out a decent corner.
Maybe like a little random safety action might go like in the 4th, 5th round, cool, or maybe something like a little higher. But bro, they're like tight ends, and those big cornbread fed like O-linemen that come in and just like ball out immediately.
I still don't know how they keep finding like the widest safeties in America, and they all run 4.3s.
Oh,
never seen that in my life.
Oh, you could apply that Deion Sanders draft. This cat can move. I'm not gonna say it, but y'all know why I'm saying this. When the white dude from Kansas State ran like a 4.28 or something like that, yeah. The combine's like, bro, where y'all find these people at?
Okay. Well, I mean, we kind of talked about the ACC championship, but SEC championship. What did y'all think of that game? Because to me, man, it just felt like 2 heavyweight fighters just going at it. And if I'm being honest, because like I know Blue, you brought up earlier how they barely got past Auburn. I really do feel like Nick Saban was looking forward to this matchup with Kirby. Like I feel like it was something about this game that propelled them to this win. Like it was a little extra motivation there for them to get this win, because we were all heading it. I'm not gonna say all of us, but a lot of people in the national media was handing the keys over to Kirby Smart in Georgia. After that back-to-back run, and I don't know. I felt like Alabama kind of felt away. They kind of felt away about that, and I think that with this opportunity in the SEC championship, that's when they kind of took their frustration out, and let people know that, hey, man, we ain't fell off yet. We still here. And, I just feel like that's why they were able to win this game. But what did y'all think about the game overall?
I mean, it's a testament to Nick Saban. The team struggled during the season. They still find a way to pull out wins. I'm not trying to ride them or anything, but look at it. Look at the blatant facts. Georgia has, 3 losses over the last 4 years, and they all come to one team? I mean, there was some questionable calls in that game that I think everybody talked about in the media. The horse collar, the catch that was a third down, supposed to be a third down completion that Bama scored the next drive on. I mean, there were some questionable things in the game, but at the same time, scoreboard don't lie. I think this might be not really the boldest of takes. Run that game 10 times. I say Georgia wins that thing probably 7, maybe 6.
Ooh, okay.
Give him the healthy Brock Bowers, and that game's a lot different than it was in the SEC championship game when he's not out there trying to put it all on the line kind of thing. But Georgia's still one of the top 4 teams in the country, even though they didn't make the playoffs. They would boat race Washington. No problem.
I disagree. But
Yeah,
I will say this though. That Georgia team it's a very good team. The fact that they lost at the end of the season, that's what kept them out of the playoff, is tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. But I'd say it was pretty much a cakewalk all up until now. So when you come in, you had to play a really tough game, really put your pants on today. And, it's your big interview day, and you haven't been putting your belt on right all year. You're going to have some issues. I think that this Georgia team hasn't been tested. I think the first time they've been tested was on one of the biggest stages of the season, and that was one of the issues. I think that this was a game between 2 very closely rated teams, right, as far as how good they are. I think Bama, Georgia are both up there. I would give Georgia the nod, but I do agree. I think that Georgia probably would end up beating Bama 7 out of 10 games. I think this game was one of them ones that went down to almost 50-50. It's going to take for somebody to really make a big play to change the direction of this game, change the momentum of it. And Georgia really couldn't find that towards the latter stages of this game, which was a little odd because we have seen Georgia come up big in those different situations. So this UGA team, man, I think they just kind of ran out of gas, right? And even like David's saying, the SEC wasn't that strong this year. It really wasn't. And I think that led to a subpar-ish SEC championship game. It wasn't a lot of fireworks. We didn't have too many standout players. It was more of a heavyweight title match. Big haymakers and a lot of waiting around.
It definitely went the distance up until shaving a few minutes, but a good game. It was a fun game to watch. I will say that. Fun game to watch.
Yeah, I don't think the SEC was as good as it has been in previous years. But I think for this game, the thing that shocked me was how Alabama really dominated the line of scrimmage. We always talk about Georgia's strength being its front 7, but Bama controlled both lines of scrimmage. I mean, they held Georgia to 2.5 yards per carry in this game, and Roydell Williams, being the 3rd string running back, did a heck of a job just keeping the chains moving. I thought Georgia did a pretty good job of keeping Milroe in the pocket for the most part. They allowed 1 or 2 explosive plays, but I thought they contained his legs pretty well. But at the end of the day, I also think we got to have a serious conversation about what the ceiling is for Isaiah Bond. He has come on extremely strong late in the year, and I think his emergence along with Milroe's development is one of the most least talked about things about Alabama's turnaround this season, because there was a time earlier this year where we talked about Bama not having any weapons on the outside. Isaiah Bond has changed that conversation completely.
Former Florida commit, man. Breaks my heart.
I didn't write it down on him, but the Big 12 championship, Texas, Oklahoma State. I got bored with that game.
That was a terrible game to watch.
It looked like me having a 99 overall team on NCAA versus
UAB
on freshmen.
I mean,
it was just.
When you go out there and you hang 100 on the game, and you're 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter, you got 100 on a scoreboard, and you're like, all right, I scored with everybody I wanted to score with. Now I'm out here running like flea flickers in the 4th quarter. I mean, it was boring.
It was boring, man. They offensively they did whatever they wanted to. Didn't thing have 450 yards passing? It was something ridiculous like that. Just a boring game.
Quinn was hooping. I mean, no, what they had Arch Manning in there with what 7-8 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I don't think he threw a pass though. I think he just took snaps.
But
What you think, Kels?
But I mean, look, man. I know Clay said the ACC is the worst conference. The Big 12 definitely giving the ACC a run for their money here. We were supposed to see their two best teams, and we saw one team that's actually pretty good, and we saw one team that shouldn't have been there. So I think the Big 12 has seriously regressed when we talk about amount of depth, and really with one of your conference champions going to be leaving next year. Another one that could have been runner-up, Oklahoma, is actually leaving too. You got to think this Big 12 conference is just getting worse and worse by the year. I saw a Big 12 championship game with not many tackles, like literal tackles. People couldn't even make tackles out there. And it really gave me a better understanding of this Texas team and understanding how they went through Big 12 play. And really the Big 12 is truly inconsistent. It's not a very strong conference. And I think this conference championship showed it. There's a team that's really good and a team that's unprepared. And that's something you shouldn't see in a conference championship game.
Thanks.
Blue?
Yeah, blowout. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, Texas was just that good. I mean, I don't think we're surprised. I mean, Oklahoma State hasn't been the same team down the stretch. They had that one big win over Oklahoma, and it just kind of went downhill from there. I think Ollie Gordon is legit, but as soon as you take him away from that team is not good enough to compete with the top teams in the country. I'm not surprised, man. I think Texas was going to run away with that one pretty much all week.
All right. For personal reasons, that is all the conference championship games that we're going to talk about tonight. Now,
no. Because I was actually gonna comment positively about Oregon. Man, it's both of those games this season have been just fun to watch. They've been fun to watch. They really have. And that's all I'm gonna leave it at. They've been fun to watch. The scoreboard reflected them, but they were fun games to watch, and it was one of the better conference championship games to watch.
I have no words on that game.
Bro, you got 37-year-old Bo Nix coming back, baby. It's all good. Now y'all got DJ transferring to y'all. Mark my words.
I wanted DJ the first time coming out of high school. Like I don't know.
He's coming to play with his brother, bro. He's coming to play there. They got him linked to FSU on Bleacher Report right now. He ain't going to FSU.
Yeah, the NCAA has to stop giving out all these waivers. Like we were just talking about him playing for the Dodgers about a month ago. Now he's gonna play in college again. Like, what are we talking about?
Man, Kelly, I'm gonna just need you to not use the headphones, my guy. I couldn't even.
I remember that. That was like the 5th or 6th episode of the season. We were all saying, bro, go play baseball, bro. Like, you're going to make millions of dollars guaranteed. You can get hit by a bus in the MLB, and your contract is guaranteed.
I know Kobe was sick, though, because, I mean, Oregon was supposed to be one of the Pac-12 teams with defense. They gave up 300 yards passing, and I think Dylan Johnson is still running for touchdowns.
Okay. All right.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one getting smoked right now. I love that.
All right.
I love that for me.
Hey, yo.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
I mean, let's be honest. The stat of the game, like if you're really going to pinpoint a stat, it was 3 for 10 on third down for Oregon. They let Washington go 10 for 15 on third downs. If you let that offense continuously move the football, you have no shot at winning the game.
Yeah, that was a bad night. That was a bad night.
The first problem was the fact that Oregon was favored by 10 points going into it.
Yeah,
I mean, you put the chip
I
on
think,
Washington's shoulder.
Yeah, I think Kobe set the line. I think Kobe texted someone in Vegas and was like, bro, make us 10-point favorites.
I mean, that was like free money when it came to me betting. I was like, bro, I'm gonna sell points, and I'll take Washington plus 7. And I'll ride with that. That's cool.
So I mean, it's a tough. I mean, the thing about it was like it's a back-to-back, not back-to-back. This is the second game. Maybe Oregon's gonna get them this time, and the game was just as close. Just Oregon just couldn't get over that hump, which is kind of weird. But even watching Bo Nix playing that game, he's really good at off-schedule plays. On schedule plays, it's a little shaky sometimes, but it really seemed like Washington dared Bo Nix to make that big play. play in and play out, and Bo Nix just couldn't make it. And the overall hype going into Bo Nix this week, he was a favorite to win the Heisman. All of a sudden, everything was going Oregon's way. So I think Washington just saw that, bro, and Washington put that on their shoulder and decided, okay, y'all think that we aren't nothing. You think that Bo Nix better than Michael Penix, all these different things. Didn't we just beat y'all? Let me remind you guys. And that's how they jumped out on them.
For my health, like I was watching that game, which, by the way, don't do this, please. I was watching this game like on my phone on the way back home from the state championships. For my health, like for me to be here alive today, like I had to put that phone down. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
Oh man!
Like I had to put that phone down.
He said to be alive today.
Like I was so mad, bro. Like
Kobe said, national advisory: please don't use your phone while you're operating a motor vehicle on the highway.
Please don't.
Do not watch your favorite sports team while they're losing.
Please do not. Okay, that was a mistake by me. No, please don't do that. Let's get into bowl picks. All right, New Year's 6, and then of course the playoffs. So let's start with the Cotton Bowl. Intriguing matchup: Ohio State versus Missouri. Who y'all got?
Man, it's gonna be tough for that game because McCourty announced he's transferring. Mizzou's got some league bound guys, and I love, for some reason, man, I don't know why, and I was waiting for this when we talked about it earlier. That Mizzou trio for me, just in this kind of situation, give me Mizzou.
Yeah.
Luther Burden's a dog, boy.
A dog, bro.
He is a certified dog.
I'm with you, Clay. I mean,
all day.
I think it's Missouri all day because we always talk about SEC teams not being motivated in the postseason. That old million-year-old excuse. If there's one team that's going to be motivated, it's going to be a team coached by Eli Drinkowitz, and it's going to be Missouri because for some reason they always feel disrespected. Ohio State's going to have damn near half the team opt out. Everyone's playing for Missouri, and Cody Schrader is. I think there's a serious conversation on like the best running back in the country. I think Missouri knocks off Ohio State in this one.
I'm with y'all. Give me Missouri. Ohio State, man, you're losing your quarterback. Is Marvin Harrison really going to play? Is he really going to play?
Right.
No.
They just lost a big receiver, too. I think like the second or third best receivers just hopped into the portal, too.
Julian Fleming said, I'm out of there.
Yeah, give me Mizzou all the way.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. Mizzou. Peach Bowl, Ole Miss and Penn State. Yeah.
Man, I think we all will agree that is going to be such a toss-up game because Lane Kiffin is so unpredictable. If these boys come out the gate and that offense is hitting, it's going to be a long night for Penn State. But at the same time I will always go with the better defensive side of the ball, and Penn State had the number one defense in the country this year. Give me Penn State.
I'm gonna go Ole Miss. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go Ole Miss. Kels, who you got?
Yeah, I feel you. I kind of feel you with the Ole Miss. I think I'm going with Ole Miss too. So is Jackson Dart? Do you guys know if Jackson Dart is going to play for Ole Miss?
Yeah, I think he's playing if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, Ole Miss all the way, baby.
I'm about to say, what's he about to do? Go sell insurance?
Yeah, I got Ole Miss. I think they're going to have enough offensively to get past Penn State. I just don't trust Penn State's offense to score, to be honest with you. I mean, they've just been so inconsistent. Also, they just announced the top 10 Heisman vote getters. I don't know if y'all saw it. McCarthy was at 10, Blake Corum at 9, Cody Schrader from Missouri at 8, Ollie Gordon at 7, Jalen Milrose 6, Jordan Travis 5.
Wow.
Broken leg, he's still top 5.
Respect to him, man. I'm sorry that had to happen to him. Respect to him.
Yeah, I mean, definitely prayers up for hopefully a speedy recovery and we get to see him in the NFL because the kid is special. He's got talent.
Oh, no. He said his career is over, Clay. He said that's it.
No.
Yeah.
The departure thing, I thought he said that was my last game playing for FSU. I didn't know that was him saying I'm never playing football again.
I took it that he's walking away from the game.
Who?
Jordan Travis.
No, he's going to the NFL.
Oh, so I must have read that wrong.
His goodbye letter. That's what I said. I thought his goodbye letter. He said, "FSU, like Noel Nation, like this is my last game ever playing for y'all. I'm calling it because that man's got a long rehab ahead."
Oh yeah, see, I thought he was like ending his career, kind of like McKenzie did, the kid from UCF.
Oh, yeah.
That's good though. He has another chance. Good for Jordan Travis, man.
Okay, all right. Florida State, Georgia, Orange Bowl.
Florida State.
Y'all heard me.
Go Nose.
You heard me.
And we blue. Don't even answer this because I know how you feel. Oregon versus Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl, man.
Give me Liberty. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Nah, you know what?
Whoa.
I'm kidding, bro. Kobe, I'm kidding.
Y'all feel like Liberty is gonna do it, and that's fine. That's cool.
Bro, I'm messing with you, bro. I was just making a joke, bro. Y'all are favored. Y'all are +6. Y'all are y'all are -625 in the Vegas odds right now. Y'all are favored to beat them by a minimum of 14. We know Oregon's gonna go out there and win it.
Yeah, if y'all wanna pick a team who gave up 35 to New Mexico, cool.
Yeah, give me Oregon, man. Shout out to Ducks.
I don't even like this matchup.
Put all your money on Liberty covering though. Oregon ain't beating them by more than 16. I'm just telling y'all. I tried to warn y'all about Tulane last year. No one listened.
No, yeah, you were right about that. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Now it's time for overreaction. Not an overreaction. And we will get up out of here. First
Playoff
one.
game.
Huh? Oh
Playoff
my
game.
God. Yeah, you're right. You're right. How's it go? Michigan was the #1 seed. Michigan and Bama. I got Bama.
I'm not
That conference championship game told me everything I needed to. I'm not confident in Michigan as like I once were. And honestly, them watching that reaction to playing Bama,
That boys were hurt. They were hurt.
Didn't like it either.
They were hurt.
I didn't like that.
People in the comments being delusional. Oh, that's because they wanted Florida State. Absolutely not. You were scared, bro. You saw ghosts. So give me Alabama.
4 words: death, taxes, Nick Saban.
Yeah, I like Bama. I just think college football is all about matchups, man. I don't think you can build a team that matches up worse for Michigan because they're going to take the run away. And they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage, even because especially with Zinter being out for Michigan, they're going to be down a guy. They had to reshuffle their offensive line late in the season. I don't trust McCarthy to make the big throws against that Bama secondary. I like Bama in this one.
Dallas Turner's about to be all over the field, and I will say a big shout out. Caleb Downs has been playing stellar football.
I tried, man. He was my #1 pick when we talked freshman earlier this year.
That is very, very, very true.
That's a dog.
He had. I mean, as the seasons progress, if you watch, they released a highlight tape on him that I saw on Twitter the other day. He is good, very good. There's another built by Bama DB that's just going to be a force for a couple of years, and he's going to go make a bunch of money in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to take Michigan. I think it's going to be a really ugly game. I think it's going to be messy. Definitely going to be a slugfest, but it's going to come down to who plays better. Is it Milroe or is it McCarthy? And at the end of the day, to me, Bama's lows have really scared me. Right, the lows I've seen them play down to have really scared me to where I see a big game like this. If you can get on to Bama early, you might have some traction. So I think Michigan might get them, and I'm going to pick Michigan to win this one.
Okay, all right. Texas, Washington. I'm going Texas.
See, I'm in agreement with you there. I'm going Texas, but part of me is like, man, listen. Texas didn't really have what Washington had by playing a top 8 team 2 times in a season. You know what I mean? Texas's whole season's built off of beating Bama. Really, if in reality, when you break it down, their whole season's built. They beat Bama. That gives them the thing because you see where Bama's at right now. I want to say if Penix is on his game, because Texas's defense is better than I feel like it's been over the last couple of years, but it's also I feel like it's gonna be a race to 50. I feel like it's gonna be a nothing but high scoring final score is going to be something crazy like 45-37 or 45-38, something crazy like that. It's not going to be a 31-24 matchup like that. It's going to be we're gonna score. You're gonna score. Who's gonna stop who, and who's gonna get that 10-point lead, and then that's when it becomes interesting, kind of thing.
Let me ask y'all this for y'all answer, right? Do you think with this matchup we have a possibility of getting a similar or even better game than the Rose Bowl between Oklahoma and Georgia? Like I kind of semifinal game like that.
I think this has the storybook making of it definitely being one of the better playoff matchups that's came in the last couple of years. When you see it's going to be a high scoring game, I definitely think that for sure. It's going to be exciting is what that aspect. Not like a nitty gritty style game, but like there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored in this game. I think Xavier Worthy's going to have a game, and you're going to see the same thing for Penix and his receiver duos. I mean, what? You guys are Pac-12 guys. There's only been, 3 or 4 wide receiver duos to average over 100 yards per game in a season, and Washington got one of them this year, correct?
With O'Dunzy and the other, I forget the other kid's name.
It's a crazy stat, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you talk about offensive dominance. Both of these teams are 2 offensively dominant teams, right? You got Xavier Worthy on one side, Rome Odunze on the other side, Michael Penix, Quinn Ewers. I think it's a match made in heaven when you talk about a fun game to watch for a bowl game. I think I'm picking Washington. I'm going to go with Washington. Go ahead and say that now. I'm picking Washington, and mainly because Washington has shown that they've played this level of talent before, and they've shown up. Their defense has shown up. Their defense has not gotten into these big shootouts with all these different teams. They've slowed down Cam Moore. They've slowed down Caleb down at USC. They've played against Bo Nix. I think that this Washington team and who they've played this season is going to help them in playing against Texas and ultimately end up in a win, because there's a lot of points this season where we saw Washington offense not show up, but that defense stepped up big time, especially in a monsoon against Oregon State and the week after that. So I think Washington's experience is what gives them the nod in this game. So I'm going to pick the Huskies for a win.
Waldo 205 in the comments. The Xavier Worthy did have an injury in that conference championship game, and he was pulled out of it. Obviously, I think that following drive, and we're still maybe 3 weeks away from that game being played. I think it's December the 28th.
I was going to ask how bad was that?
Xavier Worthy he'll be in the game.
They still got A.D. Mitchell too.
This will be in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing game. But I think Kelly kind of took my point. But I think Washington is more battle tested week in and week out than Texas is. Now Texas had that big win over Bama, but really and truly, I mean, I don't think they face many other stiff challenges. I mean, the fact that Washington also seems to bring their game up to the level of their competition. Like that Washington team that played against Oregon those 2 times was not the same Washington team you saw kind of slack off when they played like Arizona or, or someone like that. They always seem to raise their game to their opponents. I trust their, I know Texas wide receiving core is loaded, but I think Washington might have the best one in the country. They have playmakers everywhere. Plus that rushing attack is slowly coming along. I think they can be a little bit more balanced. And this is no disrespect to Quinn Ewers. I think this kid's amazing. I trust Michael Penix and his experience in this moment more than I do Ewers. I'm going to go with Penix to find a way to win this one.
Okay. All right.
Split panel.
Final part of the show. I did not make these up.
Sponsored by On3.
Sponsored by Kobe or sign language classes belt to ass.
Hashtag belt to ass. Overreaction, not an overreaction. This is gonna be funny. Remember that picture I sent y'all? All right. Florida State should accept the bowl gifts and accept the invitation, but not actually play in the game. They should boycott playing in the game as well as their fans versus Georgia.
What we just got done making a point of, you're getting ready to try to spend $1 million of tax-paying money that is not going to impact what playoff games are being played and who wins the national championship. Go out there, play 4 quarters, try to save an undefeated season, and move on. Move on. Let it go to rest.
Just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let
don't
it go.
boycott. Yeah, don't boycott. You got play
What are
play
you
the
proving
game.
by boycotting? You beat Georgia. You make a statement if you beat Georgia.
I think this would be the first time that if a team did boycott, though, people would defend it.
Yeah, people could. Just to me, it's such an overreaction because at the beginning of the season, you agreed to these parameters. Like you agreed to being chosen or not chosen to go to the college football playoff. We all knew there was only 4 spots and there was 5 Power 5 conferences. So hey, if you sign up to get in this game, you get whatever you get out of it. So to me, how could you boycott when you signed up to play?
Seems like y'all scared of playing the defending back-to-back national champions. Is what it sounds like. It sounds like y'all boys are scared to play them.
DJU would automatically make Florida State title contenders. It was in the comment section of that graphic.
No. But he did.
This
He's
is a
going to
good
look
one.
fantastic in all 28 uniforms that Oregon has.
Yeah, no, they're losing too much this year, I think, because I mean we're assuming Keon Coleman's gone, Jared Verse is gone. They're losing the other defensive lineman. If I'm not mistaken, the 6'7" wide receiver's gone as well.
Yeah,
they're losing
Johnny
a few
Wilson.
pieces on the offensive line. I think next year's a reload year for Florida State. So I don't think it automatically makes them title contenders. I don't think DJU's the missing piece, but it'll just depend on the other transfer additions that they get this offseason.
They lose. Who's their number one corner right now? Isn't he?
Yeah, he's
NFL,
gone too. I want to say
NFL
he's gone too.
Not Asante Samuel Jr.
No.
He's already in the league, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's their other big time corner that they get that he gets so much love like on PFF grades and all this stuff? He's gone. He's a junior, isn't he?
Yeah, I want to say so.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say make them title contenders. I mean, they're still going to rebuild. I mean, they're going to recruit well in the offseason when they see, some of these final closing with some of these other kids, but title contenders.
They're probably going to win the ACC because the ACC is going to be garbage again.
I'll take Jordan Travis with one leg over DJ, but y'all know on this show
That's
how I stand.
crazy. That the disrespect is crazy.
I'm joking, man. Y'all know that. Y'all know I got to throw a little bit of the comment out there on DJ. I thought the dude's needed to play baseball for like 3 years now, but it's all good.
Facts. Yeah, big overreaction. I don't think DJU makes anybody a title contender, to be honest.
Throw him on Bama, he's gonna nah.
There was some whispers about USC. I don't think that helps USC at all.
All right, last one, and this is coming from the most delusional fan base in America. So don't take it serious. Coach Prime landing the number 1 offensive tackle in the country drastically improved Shadour's chances of protection.
Dude, the dude went to prom like a month and a half ago. I get that he's 6'6", 285 pounds. He's the number 1 offensive tackle in the country. I get that, but you got way more shoes to fill besides just getting the number 1 lineman in the country.
I mean,
the dude's out there fighting for his life every game.
They gonna pair him with 4 dudes out of the transfer portal, bro.
This dude had a broken back at the end of the season, and your 1 lineman fixes that? Man, come on, dude.
Did they forget that offensive line is five people as a unit, or are they going to clone this dude? Like that's, I mean, and then on top of that, you're expecting if a true freshman comes in and he's your best offensive lineman,
you have issues.
The problems are so much deeper than that.
So much deeper.
Dude, they went and got a kid out of the portal who couldn't even play at Jackson, and he's projected to be like the second best offensive lineman on the team.
Oh God.
I want to say probably the last true freshman lineman, and maybe I'm obviously probably not going back into all the things that have happened in college football the last couple of years. The last real true freshman that has came in as a lineman and made like big impacts is like Amarius Mims. Oh, is it Amarius Mims? Amarius?
Yeah, I think it's Amarius.
Amarius Mims. I'll give Lyle Collins a nod there. And then maybe Isaiah Wynn or Alex Leatherwood. No, I wouldn't even say Alex Leatherwood, probably.
Hey, well,
I don't think Alex Leatherwood started as a freshman.
I mean, I'll say this though about Coach Prime. This is a good start, right? We need to start finding guys to protect my boy Shador. Maybe I don't know how long it's going to take, but you get like maybe 7 or 8 more of these dudes. All right, and then we can talk.
I mean, you looking at the offensive line, right? Okay, you got that kid who's probably gonna start. You got Tyler Brown. You got Tyler Brown back. So I mean, that's two guys now.
Kobe, you better hit up Prime and ask him if he's looking for somebody.
I'm good, bro. You couldn't pay me. You could not pay me.
No, you could. No, they definitely could pay you.
I'm so
They
good.
definitely could pay you.
Nah, he couldn't pay me. But still, like, I'm good on it. They have 6 offensive linemen for a visit tomorrow. Hope it helps them. All right, man. That's about it. That's about it for this show. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of FBS Fridays. We will see y'all next time, especially with some of these games about to be played. But I can't wait for the national championship game though. And the post game show that follows that the following Friday. But man, until next time, we'll see y'all again. We out. Thank y'all for tuning in though.
Thank y'all.